In 1966, the British invasion occurred in the United States as the Beatles landed on American soil and commenced a 17-concert tour of the country. The American youth were frantic and fanatical as they cheered and screamed at each concert. The police were utilized to hold the crowds back, and everywhere they went, they were hounded by media reporters who sought to stir up controversy at this rock group, the Beatles. On one occasion, a reporter asked John Lennon about Christianity, and Lennon answered in a mocking, derisive way and said, "Christianity will end. It's going to disappear." And he added further, scoffing remark by saying, "We're more popular than Jesus." At the time I was a teenager, and I remember these things vividly, and how much that bothered me that Jesus would be mocked and Christianity scoffed at. Billy Graham once went to Marilyn Monroe and shared with her the gospel. And Marilyn's response was this: "I don't need Jesus." And that mocking remark was followed by her suicide 3 months later. I don't know if any of you know comedian George Carlin, and I don't recommend watching him because he's quite vulgar. But in one of his stand-up routines, he mockingly challenged God and his existence, God's existence. And he was on the stage and he said, "If there is a God, let him strike me dead right now." And he waited in a mocking gestures that there was no God. Wolfe built the Titanic, this huge ship, and the chief builder himself was asked about the ship's size and its strength, to which he replied, "Not even God can sink her." Such mocking, belittling tones about God. Our own Canadian Governor General Payette remarked in a speech that she gave, quote, "And we are still debating and still questioning whether life was a divine intervention, that is creation, God created the world, or whether it was coming out of a natural process alone." Oh my goodness, she said, "a random process," ridiculing anti-God mocking words from our own Governor General. Let me define, if I can, the word mocking. It is making fun of someone or something in a cruel way, derisive. And scoffing, mocking and scoffing is very similar to that. It is contemptuously ridiculing or mocking someone or something. Good morning. This is Pastor George from Riverside Community Church. Delighted that you've come and are watching and are joining us in this sermon this morning. We're in a sermon series entitled "Tell Me the Stories of Jesus," and today's sermon is called Mocking Jesus. Mocking Jesus. Peter, an apostle, a disciple of Jesus who was with Jesus, wrote this in 2 Peter. "Above all, you must understand that in the last days, scoffers, mockers will come, scoffing and mocking and following their own evil desires." Mocking, scoffing at Christianity. It's nothing new. Jesus knew and experienced the worst mocking and scoffing of anyone. Although Jesus knew it, he still came to earth. He still turned his face towards Jerusalem and walked right towards this mocking, this scoffing, and the cruel cross. Let me read to you, if I can, from Matthew 18. Jesus took the 12 aside, this is the disciples, and told them, "We are going up to Jerusalem." He faced it, "and everything that is written by the prophets about the Son of Man will be fulfilled. He will be delivered over to the Gentiles. They will mock him, insult him, and spit on him. They will mock him. They will flog him and kill him. On the third day he will rise again." The disciples did not understand any of this. Its meaning was hidden from them, and they did not know what he was talking about. You may be tempted to think superficially that only a few mocked Jesus. So I would like to read to you, if I can, about from Matthew 27, the verses that led up to the crucifixion. We are reading this because it is God's word, and some of it is Jesus' words that are recorded. Matthew 27, starting at verse 27. Then the governor's soldiers took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole company of soldiers around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him, and then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on his head. They put a staff in his right hand. Then they knelt in front of him and mocked him. "Hail, King of the Jews," they said. They spit on him and took the staff and struck him on the head again and again. After they had mocked him, they took off his robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. We're reading on. This is verse 38. 2 rebels were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him. They mocked him, shaking their heads and saying, "Who are you going to destroy the temple and build it up in 3 days? Huh? Save yourself. Come down from the cross if you're the Son of God." Mocking. Verse 41. In the same way, the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders mocked him. He saved others, but he can't save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross, and we'll believe him. He trusts in God. Let God rescue him. He said, "I'm the Son of God." In the same way, the rebels, that's the 2 thieves on either side, who were crucified with him, also heaped insults, mocked him. Who mocked Jesus? Well, we read the soldiers with words mocked him, but they also, in other Gospels we read, they blindfolded him and they punched him and they mockingly asked him to guess who hit him. They mocked him. Ha ha, real funny. Cruel mocking. It says in the scripture that we read that the passers-by, they also mocked him. Everybody was mocking him. The chief priests, that's the religious leaders, mocked the real Jesus. The teachers of the law, the academics, they mocked. The elders, the municipal leadership, they mocked. Even the robbers, the outcasts and criminals mocked him. That's about everybody in the society mocked Jesus, mocked him. And today, along with Jesus, many Christians, if not all, are mocked. We are put down, we are scoffed at and ridiculed. Our sign, our church sign outside was vandalized with the mocking words, God is fake. Peter writes, above all, you must understand that in the last days, scoffers will come, scoffing and following their own evil desires. This is the last days. Jude writes, verse 18 of chapter 1, they said to you, in the last days, there will be scoffers who will follow their own ungodly desires. We're scoffed at. Christians are scoffed at. How do you handle people mocking Jesus, Christianity, you as a Christian? How do we handle that? Well, first of all, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised by mocking and scoffing and sneering and being put down. 1 John 3:13, do not be surprised, my brothers and sisters, if the world hates you. This mocking and sneering and scoffing is based in hate and being opposed and against. Don't be surprised by it. Secondly, you are not alone. We are not alone. Jesus said, John 15:18, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. Jesus endured it, but he tells to us, you're not alone. I'm with you. Thirdly, there's a blessing. A blessing is yours when being mocked or sneered at or scoffed or put down. Luke 6:22, Jesus' words again, but he's quoting. Blessed are you when people hate you, when they exclude you, when they insult you, mock you, put you down, and reject your name as evil, because of the Son of Man, because of Jesus. A little side point here. Some of the scoffing of Christians is done by other Christians because they think they're far more Christian or whatever. I don't understand that. We need to encourage one another and not put each other's Christianity down. But the fourth point I want to tell you about how to hang on or how to deal with people mocking and putting you down. You just have to hang on. You have to stand firm. You need to be strong. Matthew 10:22. You will be hated by everyone because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. I urge everyone, whether you're Christian or not, do not mock God. Do not mock Jesus. Christians, do not mock by belittling God. We can belittle God or doubt God, or we can be putting down other Christians. We can minimize God's word, or even by rejecting God in our life. I leave you with this verse from Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to the flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap life eternal. Do not mock God. Christians, do not belittle God's word or the significance of God. Do not lack faith. These things all belittle God and mock. We must not do that. If you're a non-Christian, beware that God records everything. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. In fact, let's turn our hearts to Him in honor and praise to our loving God. Thank you. The Lord bless you.